Hey everyone, how's it going? I'm Chef Guga Rocha, and this is Rango at Home, which will bring you the best recipes to sweeten your life without neglecting your health. And look, this season our theme is pastry, and we've already had all kinds of dishes: cake, mousse, cheesecake, panna cotta, and even tiramisu. Check out the other channel videos to see the different delicacies I've already featured. Look, but you must have noticed that something was missing. There were lots of delicious things, but we didn't have a pie. And this one is for you who like to enjoy the delights of life, but obviously without guilt, right? So let's make the recipe with 0-calorie erythritol, very natural, a healthier and more natural option that sweetens like sugar and doesn't leave that bitter aftertaste, you know? And look, today, the one who's going to help me make this wonderful gluten-free chocolate pie is the influencer Tati Rui Romano from Panela Terapia, a channel with over 1 million subscribers here on YouTube, totally focused on recipes. Tati, it's a pleasure to have you here with us today.
My pleasure, Guga. Thanks for inviting me. Cooking with you will be fun. I'm excited to make this pie. I think it'll be amazing.
Let's go. Thanks so much. I'm excited to cook with you. Tati, I know you're a kitchen pro, so today we'll cook together, 4 hands, even remotely. All right?
Absolutely. It's a deal. This will be fun.
So, whatever you want to add or comment on the recipe, please feel free. This show is ours. The goal is for us to have fun here. So, as I already mentioned to you, today's recipe is a gluten-free chocolate cake. For that, we're going to use several ingredients. And the main one is 0-calorie erythritol, which is naturally sourced. And look how cool: 0 glycemic index, 0 gluten, and 0 calories. But before talking even more about it, let's get our mise en place ready. Very fancy, right? In other words, let's separate the ingredients for this delicious recipe so we can start cooking. Are you ready, Tati?
Everything is ready here. Look, all organized, just waiting for your command.
So we're going to need 2¼ cups of gluten-free dark chocolate, 3/4 cup of unsalted butter, 5 large eggs, and 2 tablespoons of 0-calorie erythritol. Look, here we're using this version, which is the powdered version, but there's also the liquid version to suit everyone's taste. Okay guys, this one is very practical. Here, we're also going to use ½ a teaspoon of vanilla extract, a pinch of salt to really bring out the flavor, and 2 tablespoons of water. Awesome, right? Obviously, what's missing? Chocolate. We're going to add another ¼ cup of cocoa powder because there's no such thing as too much chocolate. So, a little more cocoa powder to grease the pan if you prefer, because I prefer to grease the pan with cocoa instead of flour. Perfect. So now that we have everything separated, let me give you a few more interesting details about the ingredients we have here. And the most important one is 0-calorie erythritol, which is very natural. As I already mentioned, it makes preparing recipes much easier because it sweetens in the same proportion as sugar. Look how practical that is. So the same amount you use for sugar, you can replace with the same amount of erythritol. Cool, right? So 0-cal is here to make our lives easier. In this powdered version, it's also lactose-free, okay? So let's talk to Tati now. Enough stalling, Tati. Do you often make similar recipes on your channel?
I glanced at the recipe and found it very practical, just the kind I usually make. Because I'm not a chef, I'm just someone who likes to share recipes, so my main recipes are all practical, easy, with simple ingredients. So everyone has access to them, they're not hard to find. And especially if you don't have to use sugar, even better. Because what people ask me the most is if they can substitute sugar with some sweetener. And then erythritol is perfect because it doesn't leave an aftertaste. Awesome, I'm here.
Awesome. And it's also very practical because it's 1 spoon for 1 spoon, right? So it replaces the recipe exactly. And I also love making recipes that people can make at home. I think that's fundamental, really cool. And all of this goes really well with this 0-cal because it's naturally sourced, and as Tati said, it doesn't have any aftertaste. In other words, you know that bitter taste that sweeteners usually have? It doesn't have that, so knowing all this, let's get cooking first. I'm going to take this round pan with a removable bottom and grease it with butter and cocoa powder. If you want to use margarine, you can too. No problem at all. So let's grease our baking pan. It's already greased, and the cool thing about greasing with cocoa is that the outside of the cake doesn't get whitish like it sometimes does with flour, and it makes it even more chocolatey. Alright, so look, we already have the baking pan greased here. For cakes like this, removable bottom pans are really suitable. But look, I know not everyone has one of these at home, okay? But anyway, a round pan should work, or whatever pan you have will do as well. The pan is greased and ready, just waiting for the delicious things it will hold. I'm gonna melt the dark chocolate and the butter in the microwave. So look, I have dark chocolate here and I have butter here. I'm going to put both together now, okay, Tati? Let's put them in here and take them to the microwave so the chocolate and butter melt together. Do you prefer to melt it in the microwave, or do you usually melt it in a double boiler? Done.
I also use the microwave, combining them and watching the time to avoid burning the chocolate.
Check out this great tip that Tati gave you. Put it in the microwave and do it little by little, because chocolate in the microwave melts. But sometimes it keeps its shape. It looks like it's not melted, but it actually is. You keep adding more time, more time, more time. And it burns the chocolate, so leave it for a little while. 20 seconds, take it out, stir it, put it back, take it out, stir it, until it's completely melted in the microwave. So we do it like this, look, see? It's already melted. Now we mix it here to make sure it's melted, well mixed, really smooth. All right, perfect. So, with our mixture already melted, let's continue with our recipe now. Look, we're going to take the mixer and beat the eggs together with the 0-cal sweetener, erythritol, vanilla, a pinch of salt, and water. And if you're there wondering, oh man, I don't have a mixer at home, that's no problem at all. You can just beat it by hand, either with a whisk or even with a fork. In both cases, what we want is a smooth batter that will double in volume. So, the tip I always give, and that I think is really important, is every time you're going to use eggs in a recipe, you come here, look, crack the eggs separately, okay, and add them one by one to your mixer. Why? Because if you have a spoiled egg, you'll lose the whole recipe, okay? So, being careful not to let any shell fall in, keep cracking them one by one, and we'll continue with our recipe. So, we put the eggs in. Actually, the one who lays the eggs is the chicken, but we put the egg in the mixer. Now let's add the 0-calorie erythritol. I already have it set aside here, okay? Let's also add the vanilla, which gives it a really special aroma. A pinch of salt. Look, my grandmother, who was a great baker, always told me that every good recipe, every sweet one, needs a little bit of salt to bring out the flavor. So, that's a tip you should keep in mind, all right? And also the water. Awesome. So now you just need to mix it and let this mixture double in volume. Look at that, awesome. Our mixture has already doubled in volume. I'm going to take it out now. Now that we've achieved this aeration, we don't want to lose too much of it. So now we'll keep mixing, but this time by hand using a spatula. Add our chocolate that we melted in the microwave and let's mix this deliciousness. Here guys, you just want to eat this with a spoon already, don't you? You really feel like it. I would do it like crazy, but let's wait, because I'm sure you'll love the final result. So look, I'm going to add the cocoa powder here too. Let's start mixing it. Obviously, there's a lot of cocoa powder here because part of it was for greasing the pan, which I had already done before. But it's up to your taste how chocolatey you want your pie to be, okay? I'm going to add about half here, roughly a tablespoon, all right? That's already more than enough, just to give it that extra touch of bitterness that the cocoa powder brings. So, Tati, are you enjoying the recipe? Hey.
Oh, I'm using a whisk here, not a spatula, but I think it's working out.
Good. Here it's already well mixed too, just mixing it here. And the cool thing is this. Look, all this batter. So we're going to pour it into the greased pan and we're going to bake it for about 40 to 45 minutes at 180 degrees. It really depends on your oven. I always say this, guys, the oven is something we learn to work with over time, right? Each one has a type, a brand, a model, and over time we learn how to work with our own oven. Let's do this then. Look how nice it is to scrape a little bit here with the spatula. here in our pan. Look how beautiful this is. It's going to be super chocolatey. And now, like I said, oven, and soon we'll be able to taste this wonder. Tati, it's oven time now, okay? Wait a little bit. Our pie is going to be delicious. It's tasting good here, wow.
The smell is wonderful. Even before going into the oven, it's already super fragrant.
It's true. The vanilla gives it that special touch. And the coolest thing is that this pie can be enjoyed both warm, right out of the oven, or cold later. Actually, this pie reheats really well too, okay? If you want to keep it in the fridge and warm it up a bit to serve with a scoop of ice cream, it's amazing. Guys, have you noticed I add ice cream to everything? I really love it. Look how wonderful this is. We took it out of the oven, put it here, and let it rest for about 30 minutes before taking it out of the pan. All right, guys, so look, serve this wonderful thing. Serve it up with a little coffee. It's amazing. Or with some whipped cream and a bit of cocoa powder. However you think looks best. Tati, how did you do yours? Did you see?
Since my pan was big, it turned out a little shorter, so I added some height with whipped cream and sprinkled cocoa on top.
That pie looks good. It really does turn out a bit shorter. Mine too, okay? It's about the same as hers. It's a denser chocolate pie, you know? And after that golden tip of adding whipped cream, which is delicious, what we can do now is taste it, right? Mine, I made it truffled, just put cocoa powder on top and let's go, because now's the best part, right? Let's try it. So guys, look, you can serve it with a little strawberry, okay, with fruit. It's really good and it turns out great. Look, it's super chocolatey, a real chocolate bomb for you to impress at home now, and it's just too good, right, Tati? And you don't even have to feel guilty, you know why? And there's no sugar. It's made with 0-cal erythritol, amazing flavor, and no guilt. Let's go. Right. Wow, it's really good, huh?
Really good.
The texture is delicious. It's kind of like a mousse, kind of like a pie, really good. Guys, it turned out really good. The bitterness of the chocolate balances out the sweetness of the recipe, and it's just amazing, really, a perfect 10. Sweetness, which, by the way, came from our buddy 0-cal erythritol, very natural here, and it's a healthier and more natural option. To sweeten your recipes without giving up flavor or pleasure, I thought this recipe was a hit. And you, Tati, you know everything about recipes. This recipe is a success. Wow.
Girl, it's wonderful. It's the kind of recipe people love because it's super easy to make, and everyone who tries it says, wow, it's delicious. They think it's really hard, but it's actually super simple and very tasty. I love it.
And you and your content, people love it too, because there are a lot of people who follow you and love your recipes and your professionalism. And I'm really happy that you agreed to share the kitchen with me so we could make this amazing pie here on the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
I'm the one who should thank you. I loved it. I love the recipe. I love participating. I've been following your work for such a long time. I'm really happy. Thank you so much.
That's great. Thank you. And for everyone watching at home, thank you so much for your company and your trust. And with these amazing recipes we've made, I hope you feel inspired to get into the kitchen and try them out. Try out the all-natural 0-cal line, which will help bring out the flavor in your recipes. This was another meal at home. And make sure to check out all the recipes, because I'm sure one of them will win you over. Or all of them will win you over and sweeten your life a little more. Bye-bye, see you next time. I'm Chef Guga Rocha, and now it's my turn to eat this whole cake. In fact, this entire creamy pie. Thanks.